Okay, so I've decided the first thing I need to do is to clean the darn, I guess I can say the damn workbench. I've got a lot of cool stuff on here. I've got an ancient tool battery pack. I've got a mirror, of course, and then the plier tools. And of course the reason you take the battery tool apart is so you can store screws in the case, right? Smart. Yeah, my tool belt belongs on the bench, right? I've got all kinds of stuff I need to put away, so here goes. I'm going to spare you the agony of it and do this in fast motion. Forstner bits. What I usually do is just kind of clean one area and put it on another. So these are going on top of the bandsaw. Marking knife, handmade. Here's the other part of that, right? That gets thrown out. Two kinds of shellac. Remember I was telling you about my plane? I hope you can see this. These are the shavings. This is East Indian rosewood shavings. Rosewood. Ah! Here's my dustpan. You never know when you'll need it. Saw file. Another saw file. Or is that the same one? I don't know. Got some nice new gloves. Well, one new glove and one old glove. So I guess the right hand is new and I'm right-handed, so that's probably a good thing. Some hot glue, but the hot glue gun is nowhere in sight. And miscellaneous scraps of sandpaper. So I like this bench because it's got Norm's bench here has a tool drop, a toolbox in the back. You can just drop anything you want in there and forget about it, which I've done. But I usually keep the odd pieces of sandpaper in there. Sometimes the glue. I want to try to shut the glue sometimes. But everything else pretty much belongs off the bench. This is pretty cool. This is a glue spreader, silicone bristle brush. If you don't have one of these, get one. It's a bench dog. Fantastic for spreading any kind of glue, including polyurethane glue. So you either use woodworker's glue or polyurethane glue and just let it dry on this thing after you're done. It's got a nice brush and a little spreader on the end. And as soon as you're done, you let it cure overnight, come back the next day, and it just peels right off. It's just magnificent. It's phenomenal. Great tool. I think you get two of them for a few bucks. But great to have. I'm glad I got that. I only got that a little while ago. An odd piece of switch from an electronic project I've been working on, which is really cool. Switch, two sides for a box that closes, opens and closes a switch. Yeah, whatever. Saw file. Did I show you the saw file? Pieces of leather, cowhide, which I'd used to line the jaws of the vise, but it didn't stick, so we'll throw that aside. I think I can start to sweep this off. Ta-da! So I'll give you a little tour of the Norm Abrams workbench here. I've got square dogs, and this is part of his design, but they've got a little wooden, I think it's a white oak spring on it to keep it in the slot. The slots are chiseled out for that shape, and they stay in place. It's pretty cool. So this is a block that's mortised into the frame, sandwiched in as you assemble the thing. And I've got a cider press screw here, actually, just pushing the thing in. It's on the cheap. I did that on the cheap. That was only a few bucks several years ago. Along the side, the line of bench dog holes, I'll pop this up, and you can see how now you can put anything in there and clamp it. So you can move this out, move this back, whatever. Move this up. Love it. Is that good for you too? little more. And then just run it up. And you can see that that's how you clamp with that, right? Pretty standard stuff. In addition, over here, let me just turn the camera a little bit. So I've got this system, which I think is a Jorgensen, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, setup. These clamps are pretty cool. They're through-hole clamp, hold-downs, really, hold-downs. And they're either Pony or Jorgensen, I don't know. Anyway, but they have a nut that screws on from below, and you'd think that would be a real pain getting under there and doing that. But they got a quick release on them. So as you you know, if you're on the bench like my hand here, and you can reach underneath and squeeze these ears, and this slides right up, so it kind of bypasses and then the threads engage when you release them. So now you can tune and get this thing squeezed up. So the way it works is you put something underneath it, and then snug it from the bottom, but then use the clamping action here to really hold it down. So that's a phenomenal setup. I've wanted that for years, and just recently done that. So it's great to hold panels flat on there in conjunction with the vise, the front vise. It really helps kind of hold the work down, particularly as you're planing and doing more work flat on the bench, and when you're actually using the bench instead of just storing junk on it. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so next up we've got the side vise here, and it's a Chinese thread version. It's not a chain drive or anything, but I had an older vise on there which is smaller. It was one of the 7-inch metal vices, iron vices with a pop-up dog on it that you could run in, and it really wasn't doing the job. So I got this, which is really just the mechanism frame, and I made the jaws out of curly maple. It's a beautiful hardwood. I used some nice pieces to kind of trick it out a little bit. And it does great, particularly for edge planing or joining, which I do more and more of now with my number 7 joiner by hand. Joining boards, I think, is getting easier to do by hand than it is on the jointer to get precision. And then this is a jig that I use when I'm working with a board on the end, any board. What happens is you run this down, and because it's not a parallel jaw vise, you get taper. You know, get this side this thin, and this is the thickness of the board. So you end up with this racking. So to prevent that, I drop this this dumb little 3/4 inch plywood piece down there. And what that does is that helps keep the jaws parallel and gives me a good solid grip on the piece that I'm working on. So it's pretty good. I think I got this Woodcraft for I don't know, $60 or so on sale. A good addition. Again, not top of the line, but you know, it holds what I need to be held. That's the name of the game. So underneath we've got a nice shelf, that is, which is a great place to hide tools and little projects. I've also got my anvil here that I'll show you later. But here I've got my jigsaw in storage, which helps kind of weigh the bench down and gives some good storage. There's room underneath, so you're not kicking your toes on anything. You can really get under it. It's a good design. You know, sturdy joints for the most part. I think it's made out of 2x4s. And then it has a white oak frame that goes around it. So, like I said, it's been pretty good. I think I want to replace it at some point in the near future. As I get close to retirement, I'm hoping that what I can do is do more and more of this woodworking. And I think the bench has probably seen better days. I know it's seen better days. It's been very good to me, and I would recommend anybody build it. It's put together with plywood and masonite on the top. The top layer is replaceable, and I just replaced it last year. So yeah, a good bench, and it'll get you there. Of course, I didn't mention about the radio, and who can do without a radio in the shop. So at least I could have some sweet tunes. So there it is, my sweet workbench.